say that Conor McGregor has been a polarising figure is an understatement. Since he burst onto the scene, he's been splitting opinions, with as many passionate supporters as detractors. But why exactly did McGregor earn so much hate and disdain? In the interest of fairness, I am only going to be talking about McGregor's fighting career, specifically his early run in the UFC. Otherwise, I'll be sat here for an hour going through all sorts of random, outlandish crap that McGregor's been up to in the last few years, like fighting off old men in court cases. I'm also going to be ignoring the gigantic elephant in the room whenever you're talking about McGregor. Guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you might be one of them. The mindless McGregor drones. Now, if you're a Conor McGregor fan, please have the presence of mind to separate yourself from these types. Now, cast your minds back to 2013, when the sport was a purer place. When the position of challenger and champion was somewhat sacred, title shots were earned through blood and unreasonably long win streaks. And a young Conor McGregor was making his UFC debut. Conor's UFC debut came with a little extra hype than most, bringing over his already large Irish fan base and his recent double champ status in the Cage Warriors organisation. After an impressive KO victory and what we these days would call an exceptionally tame octagon interview, the McGregor train began to leave the station. Was it the sudden and noticeable activation of the UFC hype machine so early into the young Irishman's career that earned him the ire of so many in the MMA community? Or was it the golden road to follow? Now hear me out, I am not a McGregor hater. I don't know, watch some of my other videos, make your own mind up. After dispatching of a young Max Holloway in his second fight in the organisation, McGregor was off to the races. His next appearance would come as a headliner in his native Dublin, Ireland. Admittedly, by this point, McGregor was already beginning to rile some feathers in the MMA community, but for the most part, this was just fighters and media. Purely through the hype he was already whipping up, only 3 fights into his run with the organisation. Most, especially here in the UK, were pretty eager to see how far this brash Irishman could go. And at this stage, there still wasn't much cause for complaint, strictly referring to Conor and the octagon. However, that would all change on Conor's ascent to the title. It's worth noting here, Conor was yet to face a ranked opponent. Even though he walked into the Diego Brandao fight with a number 12 ranking next to his name, both Marcus Brimage and Max Holloway were unranked when Conor fought them. And to me, this is where the hate from most of the hardcore MMA fans came from. As McGregor began to skyrocket through the rankings, he kept fighting relatively unknown or unranked opponents. That was until he fought Dustin Poirier. Now, entering at 5 in the rankings, Poirier was McGregor's first ranked opponent, and for most, his first actual test. Admittedly, he passed that test with flying colours, and already the title talks began. It was all but assumed Conor McGregor would fight a perennial contender next, at the time being the likes of Chad Mendes, Ricardo Lamas, or Frankie Edgar. And the hardcore fanbase was hungry to see how McGregor would deal with a top-heavy, bullying wrestler. So who did the UFC book McGregor to face in his final hurdle before being booked for a title shot? Dennis fucking Siver. I'm sorry, but I cannot believe more people don't bring this up, and it's something I never fucking hear anymore. Dennis Siver. No disrespect to the man, but Dennis Siver wasn't even ranked by the time the bout was announced. Through the grace of the UFC PR machine, he made it up to I believe 12 in the rankings by the time the fight took place. Even looking back at this fucking retroactively, it's hard for a McGregor diehard to justify him earning a title shot off of fighting an unranked/12th ranked opponent. It's one of the worst cases of queue jumping we have ever seen. The next time we'd see anything similar is when Cody Garbrandt earned a title shot with a win over an 11th ranked Takeya Mitsugaki. But hey, both guys went on to capture the titles in their respective divisions, so what the fuck do I know? Of course, McGregor would face one more hurdle before getting his title shot, and again it came with an asterisk against a Chad Mendes coming off the couch on 2 weeks' notice. Anyone who knows anything about Chad, and I hate to sound like a detractor here, but Chad is very, very well documented for being someone who gets extremely out of shape between camps. That's a fight which I still would have loved to have seen run back, even till recently. mean, it took McGregor until Khabib before he fought a truly decorated wrestler. But I'm skipping past the topic of this video here now, so I'm going to wrap up. What do you guys think of McGregor's original run of opponents? Do you think he should have faced more competition before he got booted off to the races? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and come back next time, guys. Cheers, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.